Welcome to Losi Fanta Audio Adventures. This series is about true stories that really happened. Stories in which men twist themselves into knots, women mercilessly play out their quirks, and no one can seriously claim to have acted out of pure reason. Told with biting wit, humor, and delightful sarcasm. Enjoy listening to the things people do out of love, lust, or desire, and bitterly regret. Experiences caught between heart and body.
I was wrong, and exactly because of that, I was right. Lessons you can't plan. I was still young, you know? That age where you technically know nothing, but are absolutely convinced you know everything. It was one of those evenings where you sit around with friends, drinking, staring into nothingness, and collectively realizing that staying home is not an option. Home meant stagnation, parents, and the uncomfortable truth that you don't actually have a plan for your life. So we sat there, debating like a badly organized parliament, until we agreed on the only suggestion that sounded remotely like movement. Somewhere nearby, a small bar was supposedly hosting a party. Whether it was an actual party or just loud music, alcohol, and desperate people didn't really matter. We went. The alcohol flowed. The mood was good. The women were moderately attractive. Not ugly, but also not the kind you'd tell legendary stories about years later. And then there was this one woman. Not classically beautiful, but noticeable. She had presence. The kind of presence of someone who doesn't ask questions, she announces decisions. Confident in a way that leaves no room for doubt. And she came straight up to me, no hesitation, no awkward eye contact warm-up, no small talk rehearsal. She talked like she had an appointment and I was the agenda item. The conversation escalated at record speed into territory usually reserved for non-family friendly, full-contact films where the acting really isn't the main focus. You know exactly what genre I mean. She was open. Brutally open. Topics that would normally require other women to fill out a mental safety waiver, conduct a risk assessment, and possibly call their best friend were casual small talk for her. And then she asked the question. Direct, no detour. Whether I was horny and wanted to have sex with her. That question alone made me horny. Back then, I wasn't picky, not romantic, not strategic. I was just permanently horny. For a brief moment, I genuinely wondered if I had accidentally walked onto the set of an 18-plus movie. I still asked where we were going, imagining apartments, beds, doors with locks. She waved it off. There was a small park just around the corner. Romance at a municipal level. I didn't hesitate for a second. My body had already signed the contract. We disappeared behind a bush, and what happened next was, for my younger self, an entirely new league. She got to work with a confidence and performance as if she had studied this, graduated with honors, and earned multiple PhDs along the way. I had to stop her, not to play it cool, but purely out of self-preservation. She grinned. That satisfied grin of someone who knows they are currently rewriting another person's worldview. Then things continued. She effortlessly put a condom on me, stepped in front of me, turned around, and guided my pride and joy into position. And while I was busy trying not to finish immediately, I suddenly noticed that everything felt different. Not bad, just unfamiliar, tighter, more structured. My brain slowly came back online and started asking questions my body had very successfully ignored up until that point. So at some point, slightly confused, I asked her whether I was actually in the right place or if we might have taken a wrong turn. She just laughed and casually said that this was exactly what she wanted tonight. And in that exact moment, my brain made that clicking sound. Too late for discussion, too early for philosophy. I was in her ass! So I carried on, fueled by youthful ambition, although time-wise it was manageable. Let's say it wasn't a marathon, more like a highly motivated sprint. She loved it. I needed a moment to reorganize my entire existence. After that, we made ourselves socially presentable again, went back to the party, and acted like we'd only stepped out for some fresh air. Well, it was short, to be fair. Later, she came home with me. And that's when a night began that made it very clear I had known absolutely nothing up until that point. She showed me things that definitely don't have chapters in school textbooks. The next morning, I drove her home, we exchanged numbers, and I had no idea I had just signed up for a recurring life stress test. We met often, very often, and every time it was wild, creative, physically exhausting. After each meeting, I needed a 2-week recovery period, not emotionally, physically. At an age where you usually think about sex constantly, after her, I mostly thought about hydration and rest. This went on for about a year. Then it faded out. No drama, just life. Years later, I was walking through a city when I saw a woman who looked familiar, but somehow like an upgraded version. She recognized me immediately. I needed a moment. Nose, lips, breasts, everything had been updated. We chatted briefly and made plans for the evening. Old times, we said, and yes, she had learned a lot. But so had I. This time it was 5 minutes the first round, personal growth. In between, we talked a lot about life, paths, decisions, and everything in between. She told me she now lived exactly the life she needed. A lot of sex, a lot of intensity, and getting paid for it. She was a prostitute, and a very successful one. House, horse, cars, fast cars, a businesswoman, and happy. The next day, we said goodbye without any melancholy. We still keep in touch today. Completely normal. No park, no bush, no wrong hole anymore. Just the memory that some encounters don't come to stay, but to completely overwhelm you and then quietly prove that you somehow survived anyway.
Thanks for listening. Honestly, respect for sticking it out all the way to the end. I hope you had fun, or at least felt a tiny bit called out. Maybe you even thought, thank goodness that wasn't me. Don't worry, the next story is definitely coming. And next time, too, it'll be about the things people do out of love, lust, or desire, and later regret. Until next time on Losi Fanta Audio Adventures.